the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new tent from Outwell. So this here is the Outwell Wood Lake 7 ATC. So basically the Wood Lake carries on in kind of their lake series. So we've seen Stone Lake before, we've seen Wolf Lake before. But the Wood Lake is basically a polycotton inflatable tent. So it's pretty much, one of the better fabrics you can find on the market, being an IB polycotton. So it's a breathable material. So on a sort of a warmer day, even in the UK, you will notice a temperature difference between the polyester and the polycotton. What happens is the material of kind of the natural cotton, in many ways, will allow it to breathe. So what you find on a warm day, the weave can expand, allow air pass through, and it also then contract on cold days to keep it warm. So you get the best of both worlds, really. So other findings also in terms of the lifespan. Lifespan of a polycotton could easily be 2 or 3 times longer than a normal polyester. So initially, okay, it's a bit more money to start off with, but you certainly reap the rewards in terms of its longevity. No, that's more of a natural fabric, really nice and very easy to get looking taut. It's not synthetic, so it doesn't sort of flap in the wind. It's all sort of traditional cotton canvas. So when you're inside of it, it feels definitely more cozy rather than being a bit of a bin bag, so to say. Like I said, it's air, so it's very quick and easy. You can see myself pitching this model on my own in the best part of about 13 minutes. So that's pegged that guide out the works, ready to go, and that's our own sort of Attwoolls pitching and packing videos on those. Each beam's done individually. Again, it's just each point's got its own individual. Each point, a manual pump becomes supplied with it as well. Essentially, what they kind of do is kind of at the top of Outwell's range. So it's their kind of creme de la creme of tents is what they want it to be. It's their flagship model in polycotton, and it's designed very much based on almost the Stone Lake that we've seen for the last couple of years, but with a few sort of tweaks in terms of spec. And I think for me, it's around about the same price as Stone Lake was as well, but you've got a lot more talking points, and I think that's where it needed to be. I think the Stone Lake in previous years was basically being criticised being a bit overpriced for what it was, maybe too much relying on the Outwell brand to make it, from our point of view, probably worth what you're paying for it in terms of value. Whereas I feel the Wood Lake's a bit more closer to that point now, where it actually is slightly better value, and you've still got kind of those level of features that we want in a tent. So essentially it's a free zone tent, so you've got sleeping, living, and then kind of a really nice generous front awning area. One thing you can certainly say about the Wood Lake is that in terms of appearances, it's cracking. It sits really nicely. The colours, the royal kind of blue, I absolutely adore. And that's one of the things I did like about the Stone Lake previously as well, is that just the way it sat and the way it just looked and oozed class. And that's exactly the same as we're looking at with this model here as well. You've still got things like your floating guide points. So it's like, again, a colour coordinated point, so you don't necessarily see the blue blends in quite nicely, so you know where the trip hazards are. And you've still got things like webbing straps pretty much on all the main sort of points. So anywhere you want tension, webbing strap, as well as again, ability to sort of pull it and tension it. You've got a little kind of, it's sort of sewn over too. So if you want to get a bit more tension on it, you can put a peg through it and pull it down. It makes it a bit easier. You've got storm straps front and back, and you've got sort of 3 on the front, really helping to get that sort of roof nice and taut, as we can see. And then you've got little reflecting flints in here as well. So when you've got a torch, it kind of dazzles back off it, so you kind of know where it's going. Beautiful big kind of windows throughout the whole tent, so you get plenty of light into the tent as well. They're all sort of tinted as well, so what you find is that you've basically got an element of privacy, but still allowing you to have plenty of light into it. But you've still got zip curtains, and we'll have a look around that in the front in just a moment. Other things to mention are things like low-level ventilation points. So beneath the big windows here, we've got a really nice sort of vent. That's going to help with circulation of air. Even on poly-cotton tents, it's nice to have that circulation air, a bit fresher, a bit nicer. And then you've got those 2 nice big mesh doors located either side of the tent as well, with proper nice doors to sort of seal it off. All of the little kind of toggle points are kind of like a little adjustable point as well, so it means it's easy. You can get plenty of play in there. It makes it much simpler when you're rolling a door back. Doesn't matter how thick and chunky it is, you can still wrap that around to retain it. But overall, I think the colour pattern looks really nice. A new thing as well is the fact that we've got a slightly darker material on the back of the roof, and that's going to help to make the bedroom a bit darker. Well, of course, we'll see that as we head on inside. One thing I was mentioning actually about the door scenario at the front. Door is really nice that you can actually sort of zip it from left to right or right to left, so it doesn't matter which way you want to chop and change it or set it yourself in the main living area. You can again choose, if the weather does change, you sort of go either fully open. In fact, we'll start here. So there's 4 zip pullers on it, which allow you to open up. So if I want to get into it initially, obviously unpeg that point initially. You've got almost like a half open or fully open scenario. So you can bring that door sort of back halfway additionally, roll that back, toggle that back and have your sort of entrance there. And like I say, you can do that on the opposite side across. Alternatively, you've got additional zip pullers that you can create this veranda style. So you bring that part down, allow a bit of ventilation there, bit of vents coming through, a little bit of airflow, keep things like the dogs and the kids happily inside without having to escape. But like I said, just give you a bit more ability and flexibility to do that. So take that over the top. Now on both sides you have got toggle points. So if you really want to roll it around, you can do and hold it like so. I'm just going to be absolute lazy and take the door always sort of down to the bottom. You can't remove the front panel, but what you can do is, like I'm about to do now, sort of just unpeg it all and almost sort of roll it into the corner. And because it zips down to a point as low as this, it almost sort of feels like an open canopy. But again, you've got that kind of flexibility that you can kind of open it up completely as and when you need to. But it's small things like in here that all of the curtains, for example, I was just feeling there, you know, that's made out of sort of a canvas material as well. So it's a polycotton material. So it's not like they're sort of skimping back on the spec of things. So all of the internal parts, even like this, the beam sleeves again are polycotton, which again sometimes you find with certain brands maybe that's an area they can kind of, you know, help reduce the cost of it. But it's definitely all very premium. But let's have a look on the inside and talk through a few more features that it has to offer. So now inside the Wood Lake, you kind of get a bit more of a grasp for certainly the sort of space you've got internally in here. Like I said, the first thing we'll start is at the sort of canopy area or awning area and work our way back through the tent. Now, one thing I'd say is it's pretty darn impressive the sheer amount of depth you've got in here. That sort of 470 width wise, you know, gives you a really nice span. And again, you've got kind of these really big oversized beams in here as well, which probably we'll see a bit clearer when we go into the main living area. And again, it's around about probably about 13 or 14 centimeters. So big chunky beams take off that little bit more extra weight in sort of the polycotton material. Now, the flexibility of the door leaves you can pretty much create this kind of sheltered area wherever you need to. So what I almost would do is you get a ground sheet included with kind of the front awning section. Now what I would probably do is you fold it in half and in relation to the door, so you have sort of half door back and then the ground sheet in the other half. So you almost got rain driving through. It doesn't collect on the ground sheet, just goes into a nice sort of, well, soaks into the ground in many ways, so you haven't got to worry about that at all. What other thing you can do as well is, personally, I will just take the ground sheet out together, have this canopy open like I've got it now, and arrange to go soak directly into the ground. You haven't got to worry about it. Then you can put things like a cooking unit in here, put things like bikes, or when you sort of take your shoes and socks off when they're all muddy, you sort of have it out here rather than going directly into your lovely clean sort of carpeted living space. Again, it's quite unusual to see sort of zip curtains all the way around, and especially like I said about polycotton zips, it's not very often you'll see proper zip curtains, you know, especially in the awning action. Even these little corners, that little detail is quite nice, so you don't see that too often either. So in terms of its joys of zip curtains is that you can sort of zip it all the way up to the top, or if need be take it down halfway, but you get much better coverage with zips than you do with anything else. And then you can just, like I said, fold it in half like so. You've got a little bit of coverage, or you can alter it a little bit and give you enough bit of protection, but also privacy where you wanted to. You've got a low level ventilation beneath all the windows on the side as well. So again, that's good, like I said, help with the airflow. And then when you don't want to use it, you can just sort of roll it into a little, almost a little pocket. So you've got, again, a little oversized, well, call it a little toggle point, and you can adjust it in so it keeps it all nicely and neatly at bay, and use the zips just to kind of tension it a little bit more as well. Moving into sort of the main living area. The main living area, you've got this kind of divisional door which allows you to, again, almost like the front door, have it sort of half and half or fully open. Now, you've got this unique thing which is called quick and quiet. The quick and quiet bedroom essentially is a magnetic connection piece that allows you to have a door shut without having the zip pulled up. So what you can do is push it aside, walk in, gives you more flexibility. So suddenly what you can do, in fact, there's a little retaining zip that we've done up here as well. So you can choose to have the door, you know, with the quick and quiet feature or not. So you're not having to sort of suck it into it, but you've got little parts on the inside. Like I say, it just kind of connects itself. So it means when you want to enter you can just sort of walk through and the door kind of shuts behind you. Admittedly, to be fair, this is a bit more of a working sample model, but the door scenario has been around, certainly in the bedroom section, for a while, so it works quite nicely. Like I said, it then means that in theory you can have, like we have here, you've got kind of almost like two big mesh panels that basically give you that sort of bug-free protection into the main living space. So you can have that down. When you want to walk in and out, you would just simply open up the door and it sort of closes behind you, so you haven't got to worry about unzipping things and re-zipping things back up. Alternatively, if you're not too fussed about that feature, what you can also do, to be fair, is create like a safari kind of tent. So you can almost very much kind of pin this back a little bit. So you can sort of pin that back. Do the same on the other side if you want to. Then that way you've got the flexibility that you can kind of open it all up without having to physically open it up. Alternatively, what I'm going to do, which I think probably is a slightly better scenario, is open the door up completely. So if you want just a more conventional door, we'll zip this up. And then there is a zip on this side over here. So again, you can bring that door back halfway. There's sort of two zips involved here. So there's a thicker, chunkier zip, which is the one that attaches to the ground sheet. So if you don't want to use it as a normal door like we are here, you can sort of roll that back, toggle it back, and it sort of stays kind of neat and tidy there. So you still get lots of functionality. Alternatively, and then that lip can drop down. And then you've got a lip-free access. Alternatively, what I'll do now is just open this up fully to completely benefit from it all. We'll take that zip. And then again, you can roll that aside. And toggle it back at bay. So again, just keeps it all neat and tidy. And then what you can actually do is detach the zip. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. So then that zip will go the opposite way, actually, to be fair. And then that will then come down lip. So essentially there's a few zip pullers on there. I've been an absolute numpty and gone the wrong way, but so you go that way, you see what I'm saying? But for the time being, we'll leave it like that. Now, when we sort of open it all up, you've got a kind of one whole big open area, so it's really quite spacious. You've got lots of flexibility in there, and because you can get a ground sheet supplied with sort of front awning area, you can almost have this as an entire big living area. Admittedly, when you've got sort of these really nice chunky beams, it helps to give you sort of good interior height due to this kind of the Gothic arcs kind of shape of it. I'm about 6'2", and I can stand up just about a second in the corner. I mean, most people are a bit short from me, but you are a little bit of away from that. So even though it's a slightly wider width, you haven't got as much sort of interior height as you probably have with some other models on the market. But yeah, there are sort of other things where you find that there are things out almost trump other things, like the mesh door, for example, in that kind of scenario. You gonna give us that here? No? Thank you. Crystal clear windows obviously on either side as well, so it's sort of mirror image of what we've seen in kind of the main sort of front awning section. And two big mesh doors either side to get the airflow running throughout it. Low level ventilation points quite happily here, and we've also got cable entry points. We've got sort of one on this side, one on the right hand side here as well. And to be fair, you can even use kind of a little bit of a slit where the ground sheet comes in here to use as a cable entry. Again, you've got storage pockets built into kind of the front section, so you can put things like your cooking utensils necessarily in there. Also, you want to be careful of kind of the material itself, but you've got it also on this side here as well. You've also got kind kind of Outwell's kind of hook track system. So it's a hanging point that can be put on any point of the beam. Very similar to Van Gogh's as it happens. The difference being is that these can actually just kind of clip in and clip on. So you can just clip that on, create a hanging point, not having to slide it around at all. So it's almost like a closed peg kind of design. So quite creative. It just means you have a hanging point anywhere on the main sort of two beams, or the one in all the areas, so almost the front three beams, you can have that hanging point. When we come to the bedroom scenario, it's essentially a 7 berth, so it's designed to be kind of a 2, 2, and then a sort of 3. Personally, I see it's better as almost like a, I wouldn't say a 5, but certainly a 6, where you've got a 2, 2, and then you sort of master bedrooms right in the middle. So you've got that sort of 180 by 230 deep, so it's a nice sizable for sort of the parent size. And again, with the master bedrooms, which more importantly for adults, so you want to get in and out, so you've got that kind of the quick and quiet bedroom scenario. So again, you can walk in and out quite nice and easily. And see, it works probably better with that door just because there's sort of less weight in it. Again, you've still got really nice big mesh panels as well. So if you want to get sort of the ventilation through that, you can do it as well. Allow a little bit lighting, that works. If you want to use it more like a conventional door, you can still do so. So again, you can just sort of kind of unravel it, roll it back to the one side, and jobs are good. And it's all, like I said, small things like the fact you've got like a polycotton kind of inner tent, along with polycotton beam sleeves and polycotton curtains. So all these little things do make a difference. As you can see, you've got this really nice deep design. So it means you have camp beds or air beds, high-rise air beds in here quite aptly. And the way it's kind of sculpted at the back, it's very kind of almost a bit more vertical right at the back here. So it means you can push the beds right to the end and not have to worry about it kind of touching the back. Same scenario on either side as well. So it means even the smaller bedroom, you've still got that little bit of extra depth and that kind of scope. You've got a sort of mesh panel located down here, and it sort of correlates with the mesh panel on the outside. Again, you've got a little curtain if you want to just kind of get the ultimate amount of sort of lights not coming in. You can do that as well. Dividers between the two sections are zipped as well, so you can makes it feel like 3 separate bedrooms. Alternatively, if you want to, you can just literally zip them up and have it as an open bedroom. That's certainly one of the main criticisms of the past of the previous model of the Stone Lake was no zip curtains, no zip dividers, and then materials a little bit questionable on here and there. You still got sort of storage pockets, so you've got pockets not only low level, but also inside the bedroom as well, and actually in the opposite bedroom as well, you find that as well. Also, you've got a little cable entry point into the main bedroom, which is quite unique. So it means you can charge your phones and that sort of stuff happily in the pocket at night. I think they've really nailed the colour scheme quite nicely, and even things like the colour coordinated bedroom works really, really well. But I think it feels very premium, and that's the thing. Now necessarily the spec matches the colour and the feel of it, and the beautiful kind of cotton canvas, well, polycotton, just feels like a really nice and cosy place to be. But let's pick the camera up now and have a quick look around actually ourselves. So we start to sort of see the canopy depth. Like I said, it's really nice sort of deep canopy. You've got those beautiful crystal clear windows, and as you sort of look around, you get that sort of 360-degree view around the campsite. So you can always check on where the kids are necessarily being. The little hook track system's just above me here, so you can kind of probably just about see, just kind of clips onto there and then goes down into your cable entry points located down there, along with that sort of lower level ventilation and sort of the storage pockets built in for that. But the bedroom scenario works really well. That sort of lovely blue kind of colour, definitely one of my favourite colours. Kind of, again, feels quite dark, so it feels nice and dark in there. If we went, say, for example, into this back sort of bedroom here, works really nicely, but then as soon as you look out, you can see the difference in terms of the brightness and having to sort of focus it, so it works really well. And then sort of the clarity you've got also with the mesh panels works nicely as well. You can sort of know it's there, but it's the principle of, you know, it's being in there as well. You've got a hanging point at the back here for a lantern as well, so you can hang a lantern up there as well as that sort of vent scenario. And then you've got the small little bedroom inside. So let's have a little look outside of it as well, and do sort of like then a little bit of a 360-degree view around it. So as the light kind of changes, it changes almost the colour. Maybe it's not brilliant where the sun's directly there. But you've also the back vent system works really nicely. So you've got this point that you can actually toggle at the back parts. So you want to get a maximum amount of ventilation, you can literally toggle up like that. Alternatively, you have it like we have on the side here. So you've got the flexibility of so, but also not a huge amount of pegging points. It's not overly complicated to pitch, which obviously does help with pitch times, which makes it a bit easier. Admittedly, I'm not gonna lie, it's bulky. It's a bulky bugger, just because there's obviously a lot of polycotton material there, and also the tubes. And in terms of size-wise, it's not particularly small. But if you want more information on sort of the pack sizes and the pack weights, what you can actually do is if you follow the link below this video, it will take you directly through to the 10 tonner website. We've got the photos, pack sizes, pack dimensions, floor dimensions, and all of the features listed quite happily as well. So you can sort of chop and change it and compare it between other models. So yeah, it's definitely a big improvement on the previous Stone Lake that I had there. It's kind of got the, like I said, the oomph to go with the quality and the features to go with the price point. It's definitely something that I think it pays dividends to see in the flesh and certainly feel the canvas and that sort of stuff. But yeah, for more information, of course, have a look in the link below. It's also our other videos there on the pitching videos and other review videos as well, so you can always check that out if you need be. But that's kind of our little video review on the brand new Outwell Wood Lake 7 ATC for the 2021 season going forward.